I run 5K twice a week. I'm age 60, so I want to explain to you why I do that, what motivates me, and also to give you some tips about running if you're starting at this age. So I didn't run until I was about 55, and then I started doing the couch to 5K. My son recommended it. It basically is an app on your phone, and I used my phone to run with headphones in. It tells you when to run and when to walk, and it builds you up gradually until you're capable and happy doing 5 kilometers in one go. It times you, and it tells you when to take a break and that sort of stuff. So I found it really useful way of getting started, and I'd recommend that to anyone who's looking at doing running in their later years. So yeah, the couch to 5K was the thing that started it off for me, and I just basically started with fairly normal trainers and normal t-shirt and shorts, and I had my iPhone in my pocket, and it told me when to run and when to walk, and then I managed to get up to 5K within a few months. I was being able to do it without the app. I also use my music on my phone to listen to as I'm running, because I find this is a way of sort of distracting me from the pain of the slog up the hills and things like that. But also, I can hear the music instead of my panting and puffing, which I find a bit, disconcerting. So I've been using just basic stuff until sort of more recently I've upgraded my kit, which helps me run. I've now got an Apple Series 8 watch, and that basically mirrors what's on my iPhone, but it means you can leave your phone at home, and it does the same thing. It still records what you're doing, and also I can play my music using my wireless Apple AirPods. So I've got the same setup, but it's just lighter and easier to use. And I use another app actually now to record my runs and then the other exercise I do as well. It's called Strava. A lot of people use it. This was recommended to me, and I use it to record my running, my gym sessions, if I go cycling or kayaking or anything else. And it's really, really good. It actually helps me in my planning, because each time you go out, it records where you're going. So it'll do like a map, and it will show you on the map where you've been for the run that day. And it also breaks it down into different sort of pace kilometers, so I can see where I was going faster or slower, and it can help you sort of work out how you're progressing as well, because your fitness levels will improve. Also, it measures your heart rate, so you can see that you're training in the right zone. My maximum heart rate that I sort of push myself to is about 150. So what else do I do? I've got a hat that I always wear to protect myself from the sun. But also, when I'm running in the winter, the sun's low in the sky, I can actually still see where I'm going. We'll wear a peaked cap. But also, in the winter when it's really cold, it actually keeps my head warm as well a bit. I use this one by Scott and Lyle, and it's easy to wash. Just stick it in the washing machine. I wear a short sleeve top in the summer and a long sleeve top in the winter, and the short sleeve top is just breathable materials, sort of man-made materials, and same with the long sleeve top. With the long sleeve top, I like to wear sort of high vis colours. I like to make sure I'm seen by the traffic as I'm crossing the road or something like that. But also, if you're sort of running towards people, they can see you a bit easier as well. Yeah, so just basic running gear. I wear shorts all the time. I don't like wearing jogging bottoms when I'm going running, because it kind of restricts me, I think. And also I find them a bit hot. My trainers, I started off with just whatever trainers I had. Realised I actually don't need to spend that much money. I've got this pair of Puma trainers. They're just plain black on Amazon. They're lightweight and they're easy to clean. I just wash them in hand wash fabric cleaner in a bucket with a sponge, and then just leave them out to dry, and they're as good as new. Strava, that is my biggest recommendation. I use the free version. All you have to do is download it on your phone and on your computer, and you can see your history of all the different training that you're doing. And I like to compare where I've been running before and see whether I've improved my pace. But it's handy for planning, because like if I have a little gap in running, say I don't run for a few weeks or something, then I want to look at a similar route so that I know what the distance is going to be without having to try and work it out each time. So say I'm off because I've got some sort of illness or injury, I might take a few weeks off, and then when I start running again, I don't go straight to 5K. I'll build it up gradually. I might do like 3K and then 3.5 and then 4.5 and then back to 5K, and then I'm up to my level. I never really run much further than 5K, but generally speaking, I like to keep it simple, and then I know where I am. I can compare like with like for different runs using that Strava app. Yeah, the maps are great. It sort of shows you exactly where you've been, and then you can tell which parts of your route were faster and slower and things like that. Yeah, so you can look at it on your computer, which is really handy because it's on a big screen. Going back to the reasons why I run in the first place, and so the motivation for doing this sort of thing. I want to stay fit for my own benefit, for my health mainly. My wife sort of thinks I'm mad, but in actual fact, I think it helps me with other things, daily stuff, where I've got the stamina to do jobs around the house or decorating or gardening. It just helps me keep up my general levels of fitness. And also, like, I've seen what happens if you don't look after yourself. I've seen people my sort of age, and they're not fit, they're not healthy, they're overweight, and they're in and out of hospital or down the doctors all the time. But I can actually honestly say that doing this running a couple of times a week is enough to help me. I feel like really good after I've been for a run. I'll get a bit hot when I'm running, sweaty, but give it half hour, have a nice shower, and I feel really good after that. So that it actually makes you want to do it again if you enjoy it. And I also like to have breakfast before I go, if I go in the morning, so I've got a bit of energy. I have tried running before breakfast on an empty stomach, but I'm sort of get dehydrated, and if I'm not had anything before I go out, and I feel like I'm flagging, I'm running out of energy. If I'm going to eat anything and then go for a run, I leave like an hour before I go for a run, just to make sure that I'm not going to have any digestive problems or anything like that. I set myself a target of doing 7,000 steps a day on average throughout the year. So obviously there are times when I can't physically manage that for illness or injury or anything like that. There are reasons why I can't do it some days, but I tend to make up for it on other days. I also have other targets that I like to keep to, like with my weight, for example. I like to try and keep under a certain weight. I'm currently 12.5 stone. My waist measurement, I'd like to keep that under a certain thing, so I don't have to keep going out and buying new trousers or anything. So it's just under 36 inches. Yeah, so those are the sort of motivating factors for me. I've also worry about long term, if I don't look after myself, what am I going to be like in 10 years' time or 20 years' time? Sadly, my dad has dementia. My brother, he's had a heart attack, and I just want to try and avoid these things by looking after myself. I do suffer occasional knee or joint problems, but I've worked out it's not actually the running that does that. I'll get more chance of injuries by doing cleaning in the bathroom, or kneeling down and sweeping something up, or getting under the desk. So actually running, I think it's actually strengthening my legs by strengthening the muscles above and below the knee. And also I don't tend to run when I'm going to risk myself getting an injury or anything. If it's icy, snowy, then I try not to run when it's not sensible to run. In the dark, I try and avoid that. But obviously in winter, it's shorter days, and you end up sort of maybe running early in the morning or sort of early afternoon, and it's starting to get dark or whatever. But here's a few sort of tips, things to look out for. I try not to run through big puddles. You never know what's in them. But also, I don't like having wet feet when I'm running. Squelchy shoes, it's not pleasant. But also, if you're running through mud, then the grip on your trainers can lessen. So if you're running down a hill or something with muddy trainers, then you're possibility there of slipping. Another thing, don't run under lampposts when there's birds on the top. I got caught out once running along the seafront. Warming up and warming down. I don't do an awful lot of warming up or stretching or anything like that. I might walk for like 100 metres before and after a run, just to sort of allow my legs to get back to sort of normal. And when I get back, I might, let myself cool down outside for 10 minutes or something, and then do a few stretches. But washing your trainers, I think, keeping your kit clean really helps, so that when you go out the next time, I don't want to wash them every time, but in the winter they get washed more often. Tying my laces using a double knot. I learnt the hard way when I first started doing running. My laces kept coming undone and I kept having to stop. And I don't like stopping when I'm doing a run because it sort of interrupts. You can actually pause on Strava, do your laces up and then start it again. I actually physically like to keep going if I can. If it's really cold, then I might wear 2 layers. So I might have a short sleeve running top and then my long sleeve top on top. And also, hydration. As I said, maybe have a breakfast or a drink, whatever, an hour before. And then when I get back, I tend to have some sort of soft drink, like squash or lemonade or something, just to rehydrate after the run. Having a route for your run is really important, I think, because you don't want to overdo it or underdo it. And, I'd like to plan so that I know exactly how far I'm going to be going and where I'm going to go, and I don't have to think about it when I'm actually out and about. I think things I've noticed, which makes things a little bit more pleasant and keeping up your morale, is just waving and saying hi to people when you're running, or nodding, or saying thank you if they move out of your way. But I like to be courteous and smile and say thank you. Also, if there's a runner coming the other way, I sort of tend to wave and say hi. And I notice about half of people do that, I suppose. Not everyone does it, but it does make me feel motivated, and that's quite pleasant. Yeah, so I think making time for doing this is important as well. So I schedule my runs. I do it on certain days of the week. I mean, you can do it different ways. You can put it in your diary and keep a slot just for running that day. I tend to do it on a Tuesday and a Saturday in the mornings if I can, and I allow myself a couple of hours from start to finish, getting ready before you go for a run, and then allowing time afterwards to cool down, have a drink, have a shower, that sort of thing. But I think scheduling and keeping routines is ideal to make sure that you are motivated to carry on doing it. And I say I've been doing this now for maybe 4 or 5 years, something like that, and I'm still enjoying it. So yeah, if you can, you should. And if you're not sure whether you think you can do it or not, give it a go. Use the Couch to 5K. Take advantage of things like Strava. And just start off with basic gear. My Strava app on my watch tells me when I've done 1 kilometre, 2 kilometres and so on. And it tells me how long it's taken me to run that last kilometre. And that really helps you to keep the pace right. I found that by accident, or I should say my granddaughter helped me with that. She plays with my watch, and she found a setting in there which I didn't even know existed, and she set that for me. So I now, when I'm running, I think of Evie as I'm running because she helped me set my watch up. Yeah, so just basic gear, regular slots, and keep motivated, enjoy it, and stay healthy.